let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens. They are our favorite in the division. They're one of the top 5 or 6 teams in the projections. Of course, they do have the bonus of special teams that they're one of the few teams that's consistently good on special teams. So you can count on that every year. And they have by far the easiest schedule of the AFC North teams. It does get a little bit harder if Watson comes back at midseason, but they get Cleveland. Well, actually, they would play Watson twice because they get Cleveland in week 7 and week 15. So it really matters to them whether Watson's suspension is extended, but not for the entire season. Because if Watson's out for more than 6 games, the next game he misses is against Baltimore.
Pretty quiet out of camp. The good news, if you're looking at injuries, of course, rookie center Tyler Linderbaum had an injury that they're still evaluating, and they're going back and forth. That looks kind of significant. But it sounds like a lot of the Ravens are back. A lot of the guys in the secondary are back. Most of the running backs that matter are back. J.K. Robbins just came back. So if you're worried on the injury front, that seems to be positive news. You look at the draft class, it's like 80 guy draft class, and they're all in, and they're all, making positive news except Linderbaum being hurt. So there's a lot of encouraging news on that end.
The one guy who we're thinking, though, is most important really is Ronnie Stanley, and you haven't heard much on his front all off season. I mean, presumably they're thinking cautiously he should be ready week 1, but they thought that last year too, and he lasted about a quarter and a half or whatever it was. That's of all the guys you can sort of, maybe with a couple of exceptions, Marcus Peters, Dobbins, 1 or 2 others, you could round up every other single guy who got hurt on the Ravens, put them all in a bag, and they're still not worth having Ronnie Stanley healthy and being the all-pro Ronnie Stanley that we've come to know and loathe as a Bengal fan for 17 weeks. So he's really the key guy. Yes, they have a lot of smaller level dudes who are back and practicing, and that's obviously good. And their depth is the key to this team. And I think it was tested last year, and that
Peters and Humphrey are pretty important.
I would call the entire secondary.
That quarterback up last year got really bad. Having Peters and Humphrey back healthy is really important. The other thing that I keep hearing from Ravens camp is we believe in our wide receivers. Really, 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 we swear we believe in these guys. really, really believe in them. We totally believe in them. Not just Rashad Bateman. We totally believe in guys who are not Rashad Bateman. These are the receivers we are putting out there on purpose. Duvernay is basically just been a special teams guy. Proche hasn't done much in his first couple of years. Tylan Wallace did nothing last year. And then behind them, it's all street free agents.
The one guy who's made any noise who they brag about with actually something behind it has been Isaiah Likely, yet another tight end, Mark Andrews, clone. So it's sort of like, we swear these are our wideouts and they're going to be good. We'll show you. But when the proof needs to be displayed in the pudding, so to speak, the one guy who stands out other than Andrews, obviously, and Bateman to a point is just another rookie tight end, just what they always do. So, they can say what they want, and they can say Lamar Jackson's put on 20 pounds of muscle and he's throwing the ball harder and looks phenomenal. Everything's, hunky-dory with him too. Listen, we all know what people say in August. What they're saying and versus the evidence on the practice field that we've seen so far doesn't necessarily match up. But obviously, even when they were beat up, I was terrified of the Ravens. So they're always going to be.
Here's the 3 things the Ravens always have going for them. Number 1, Lamar Jackson is special. The arguments that we had a couple weeks ago on Twitter about whether he's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league and are we valuing his rushing, properly. There's no question he is a different type of quarterback than the rest of the top quarterbacks in the league, but he is one of the top quarterbacks in the league. I will point out the Football Outsider stats tend to undervalue Jackson because of the fact that when we do rushing, we compare quarterbacks to other quarterbacks. And quarterback rushing is just much more efficient than running back rushing.
Right.
So we're comparing Jackson to other quarterbacks and going, oh, Jackson's only kind of average as a runner when you compare to other quarterbacks, except that he's running 130 times, right. except that he's running so much, and those are all high-value plays, and Ryan Tannehill is running 40 times. So Tannehill might be more efficient, but Jackson is running those high-efficiency plays over and over again. The second thing I'll just point out they have is, look, John Harbaugh is one of the top coaches in the league. When it comes to analytics, when it comes to decision-making, when it comes to a player incentivizing and morale boosting, and he's the top coach. He's one of the top coaches in every imaginable area of coaching. And then the third, which is less of an issue, but like I said, super consistent, is they will always be near the top of the league on special teams every year.
And real props says James Proche is showing great pride. That's what I've heard. But as Aaron said, it sounds like we're really trying hard to be super excited about James Proche. I'd like to see him do more than return punts and stuff.
I feel like this team could use Emmanuel Sanders.
I don't know what Emmanuel Sanders has left. If there was a veteran sitting out there that I was like, yeah, this is the guy. Oh God, thank you, Todd.
Well, there is one. It's Odell Beckham, but
oh yeah.
Well, he won't be back till mid-season, and you know, can Lamar Jackson throw to him outside, right?
I would say one other thing that the Ravens almost always have going for them is the succession game, is the fact that 2020 and 2021's draft picks tend to be good in 2022. They usually are pulling those guys through. I'm cautiously optimistic about a guy like Proche and DuVernay. They're entering their third seasons. When you look at guys like, what's his name? Odafe Owe on the edge, you know, and like he's having a phenomenal game. They always bring these edge rushers through in the course of a 2 or 3 year program. So like I anticipate that they're going to get a bump at some of these positions from guys that we've kind of forgotten about because they're second or third year veterans.
Yeah, and they'll need it because you know that succession plan, that factory, as you put it, you know, it kind of threw a cog last year because that's when they really needed those guys to step up, is when the injuries hit. That's usually been the case. It's not like they haven't had teams that were hit by injuries before, not to that extent, obviously, but yeah, they've always had, you know, guys go out and the backups were, you know, not replacement level. They were decent players, or they held the fort well enough, and then they stepped up when whoever pick your linebacker, edge rusher, whatever safety left in free agency. They always had the guy waiting in the wings, and that's why they used all those picks. You mentioned this huge draft haul they had, and they had 6 fourth-rounders. I mean, ordinarily a team with 6 fourth-round picks trades a couple and boosts the next year's draft, but they used them all, and I think 11 total. And I think a big reason behind that was to restock that cabinet where they can get going with the reserves and have their second team
2 corners
the level that usually is in Baltimore.
2 corners and 2 tight ends among those 6 fourth-round picks. So they knew we like to go 2 tight end. We need more tight ends. We had no corner depth last year. We need more corners. Is the difference in schedules, Joey Sucks asks, is the difference in schedules between the Ravens and the Bengals mostly the difference between the 1st and 4th place schedule? In fact, that's almost all what it is.
Entirety. Yeah.
It just so happens that the 4th place teams that the Ravens play differently from the Bengals are particularly weak. One of them is the New York Giants compared to playing the Dallas Cowboys, which our numbers say is a really big difference. One of them is Denver versus Kansas City, which is not a big difference.
Okay.
And then the other one is Jacksonville, as opposed to Tennessee.
Which,
so a lot of it is the Giants versus Philly, and a lot of it is the Giants versus Dallas is a lot of it, and then some of it is the Ravens playing the Bengals, where the Bengals play the Ravens, and the Bengals are projected to be better. But but there is also a difference between Jacksonville and Tennessee, and there is a difference between Denver and Kansas City.
And Real Prophecy mentions David Ojabo might come back mid-season, which he might. I'm an Ojabo fan. I like him. That's exactly the kind of player that you usually look at the Ravens and say, we are building for 2023. We get the bonus out of him, but we're going to develop him for the future. And that's a thing the Ravens could do because they had another first-round pick and 4 fourth-rounders and all those other things.
I will say, just to wrap up, when Watson is playing, this is a really good division. You have the Pittsburgh, who should at least be good on defense. You have the Browns, who have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. You have the Bengals, who just came off a Super Bowl appearance and still have a good amount of talent, despite the fact that I say that they're a little overrated. And you have the Ravens, who are a really good team. This is a strong division.
No question, it's a tough division. And then, listen, that tempers everything around it. People have been asking me, why is the playoff odds this low? Why are they not expected to, the Bengals I'm talking about, why are they not expected to, cruise back into the playoffs and make another potential Super Bowl run? And it all starts really with those 6 hard games. Win or lose, they take a lot out of the team. And, we've seen this in Cincinnati for forever, the week after they play the Steelers is always a difficult game because of the way they've exhausted themselves or been beat up by Pittsburgh. Same holds for Baltimore to a degree, and now Cleveland has had a whammy on them for the last few years too. So it's not the breather that they had twice a year either. So yeah, the division's rough, and it's only getting rougher, really.